everybody? How's it going? Hope you all are doing well today. Hope you all are doing well. Okay, quick thing before we get started. I just need to make sure my audio is balanced. If you guys can tell me if everything looks balanced, I can tell the music is probably a little too loud and I'm a little too quiet. So give me 1 second. Okay, let's try that. How's that? Is that a little better, everybody? Just more quiet, the song, and it's perfect. Okay, let me know how it's balanced now. I had to reconfigure some of my audio configs because the Windows update like ruined my entire config, so I had to redo everything from scratch. So let me know how it is now. And we have a visitor, chat. Alphonse is here to say hello. Hello, boy. Just good? Okay, sweet. Awesome. All right, awesome. All right, well, Alphonse, okay, come on. I actually have to do my thing. Come on. Scoot, boy. Come on. Come on. Scoot. You can lay and say hello, okay? You can lay and say hello. There you go. That's better. Okay, cool. Typical Windows update. Yeah, Windows likes to troll me. I swear, like, Windows has this thing where if you ever worked IT at any point in your life, you're condemned to a life of just terrible Windows updates. And unfortunately, I feel like that's my current situation, which is rather unfortunate, but it is what it is. We press on anyways. Hold on, I just gotta do one more thing. Sorry, I was gonna start at 10:30 today, but I had a couple things pop up I didn't know was gonna happen today, so just busy morning as always. But anyways, okay, of course this went to sleep right when I needed to not to. Okay, we're good. Okay, sweet, awesome. Okay, today is the big day, chat, so thank you, big thanks for, first of all, to RAZER for sending over the Viper V3 Pro for me to take a look at. I really appreciate it. This has been on my list to do for a while. As I said, this mouse has been on my like 2 review list for a very long time. I just haven't really been able to get my hands on one until now, so thank you very much to them. I really appreciate the opportunity to take a good look at it. Now, I know Razer's a big company. They basically told me do whatever I want with it. They don't even care if I break it during the teardown, which is pretty sick, so that's nice of them to do. So basically, as always, my thoughts on everything is going to be completely unbiased, regardless of whether I got a unit for free or whatever. You know how it goes around here, but I just wanted to be extra clear about that since RAZER is a much bigger company. Hey, what's up, Levin? How you doing today? Windows and audio settings, I swear every time I log in something changed. Oh yeah, it's awful. Windows 10 specifically, I can't wait to go to 11 because apparently 11's better, quote unquote. I should also mention, they were also kind enough to send over... They also sent over a RAZER Atlas as well, which I'm actually quite interested in checking out because I've been wanting to check out the more like big brand glass pads, because like we all know how like there's like Glassworks and Skypad and all these other like very like set glass companies, and I'm very interested to see how this compares to those. But this will be a later video. I'm not going to cover about that today just because there's a lot of other stuff going on, but they also sent this over, which was really nice of them to do as well, so big thank you again to them for that. Hey, what's up, Morales? How you doing today? 11 is great if you have AMD hardware. See, unfortunately, my new build is now going to be Intel, so I don't know how well it's going to work. I know, I don't know. We'll see how it works. But AMD won't give me a CPU, so I'm kind of screwed there, but it is what it is. Anyways, okay, let's go ahead and get started with this here. So this is I have the white version of the V3 Pro. Now, this mouse is rated at being 55 grams. However, it is worth noting the white version is a gram heavier, so this one's probably going to be closer to the 56 gram range, just because the white coloring has an extra layer in the coating, which does add a like 0.5 whatever grams to the overall weight of the mouse. Anyway, so here's the packaging for it. Pretty straightforward here, nothing too crazy. It does have a 2-year warranty, which is nice to see. Gives you some information on the mouse on the back. It is using the Gen 3 Raisha optical switches. These are kind of similar to the one Pulsar used in the Pulsar X2 series. If those of you who've watched the channel for a while remember those, just an updated version, which is nice to see. We have other stuff as well. Also, it specs 95 hours of battery life, which is an interesting spec, but we'll talk more about that later. Pretty standard for the rest of the stuff here. I should also mention, this is also printed with soy ink, which is actually pretty cool. Razer's actually done a lot of green stuff with their packaging, so a lot of the packaging is fully recyclable, and the mouse's shell is also made of like biodegradable plastic, which is a really cool thing. Kind of similar to what Asus did with the Keras 2, but a better implementation because there's actually a coating applied to the surface so you can actually hold the mouse, but that is a nice attention to detail as well. But inside, we'll pop this open. Pretty easy unboxing experience here, just kind of pops off the top. There is a nice little piece of foam in the middle here to keep the mouse in place, which is nice to see. There's this box here, which I don't think there's anything in here. I think it's just cosmetic. Oh, it's to hold this in, so that explains that. Yeah, this is the new mouse, Ruff. And then the first thing we see in here is, of course, the mouse itself. Now, I have done a little bit of testing with the mouse, so I have done a couple things to it. Now, normally there will be a big plastic sheet over the mouse, over the skates here, kind of like how it is on Logitech's mice. I should probably put that there. That looks nice there. But you can just remove that. And then the skates are, I believe they're 100% PTFE skates, but they have this kind of gray coloring to them. Now, I will say, normally I don't like stock skates, but these ones actually aren't bad. I actually don't mind these too much. They are kind of a thicker design to them, which I kind of like. So they're not as fast as like typical PTFE skates. Are a little more on the control side, but not super controlled like the really soft PTFE skates. So they kind of have like a middle ground balance feel to them, which I quite like. And also the surface areas on the top and bottom is decently balanced. The top is a little heavier, but it's a much better skate layout than like the GPX, for example, which is nice to see. However, on the bottom there are no skate removal ramps, which is a bit of a miss in my opinion, as it would be nice to have like a little ridge where you can pop a screwdriver in there just to make it easier to remove the skates. But as you can see, there's a bit of like a gap around the skates. Now, I don't know if this is intentional or not, but I've noticed that like gunk from my just random dust and debris that's on my mouse pad has kind of started to fill these little gaps here. Now, maybe they intentionally made them a little smaller so it's easier to remove them because they didn't put skate removal ramps on it, or I'm not exactly sure what the reasoning for it is. But I would expect the skates to fit this a little better in my opinion. But again, it's not the biggest deal in the world. It just like cosmetically, it's kind of gross to see just like dust and debris build up on the inside here because some of the adhesive is exposed. So maybe that's something they can improve on a future version. Maybe have these skates fill this a little better, just like kind of slightly tool them up and then add a skate removal ramp like here and here. That would be a nice thing to see them do, but regardless, that's like a very minimal nitpick and not a serious concern. And the stock skates are actually pretty good in all honesty, but that's my kind of spiel about the stock skates. What did they change from the V2? I actually don't know off the top of my head. I actually never used the V2. I've never used the Viper actually shape ever. The only Razer mice I've used until now were the Death Adder V3 Pro, which I like that mouse. It was pretty good. The Cobra and the Death Adder V3 Wired, which is like my personal favorite mouse. I've been making that mouse for forever. So this is my first time actually experiencing a Viper, but from what I know, the shape of the Viper is very different from the previous iterations, because like I always thought the Viper was like a very small mouse, which is why I really never covered it before, because I have such big hands. But this mouse is like actually quite large. It's actually very comfortable for me to grip, so it's different from their previous shape iterations from what I've been told and from what I know at least. But again, it's I guess kind of a different from what they've done before. But anyways, that's it for the mouse. We'll talk more about this later. And then also in the packaging here, we have a little dongle here with the little Razer lettering on the top. It is USB-C as expected. And it has a pretty large rubber base on it, which does keep it decently anchored. Not as well as some other rubber bases I've seen, but this is a very minimal nitpick. I'm pretty sure it's because of all this like lettering on the bottom here. You can see there's all this like lettering on the bottom of the dongle. I'm pretty sure that's why it doesn't anchor as well, but that's a pretty minimal nitpick. So no super big concerns there. And then under this piece of cardboard here, we have even more stuff. We have a stock cable and a user manual. And that is everything for the packaging. So let me just put this off to the side. Didn't try the Viper, might grab this one. Yeah, it's actually, honestly, the mouse is From what I've done, from my minimal testing so far, it's felt pretty good. Okay, so the stock cable, I can tell right away is something I'm not going to like, because it is this kind of, how do I describe this cable type? It's very, like, you can see the tension on it. It's a very rigid cable, very akin to, like, just a generic stock cable, which, again, I really don't like, and it also does not have a tilted USB-C end, which is very disappointing. On the plus side, though, it does come with covers for both sides, which is a nice attention to detail, but the cable itself is very rigid, so if you're going to use this wired, it's probably going to be a pretty bad experience, which is disappointing. Again, and also the wrapping for it is not necessarily, like, high friction per se, but it's definitely a bit of a rougher wrapping. There are definitely better cables that exist for sure. Like Pulsar's cables are a great example. Like the Pulsar X2 series cables are fantastic. The cable with the Orbital Pathfinder is also great. Like there is a lot of better stock cables on the market, and commonly with bigger brands, you see the stock cables kind of be like dusted under the carpet for what's a good analogy? They don't, like, the stock cables are historically pretty average at best, and they don't really have a lot of features you'd expect from, like, a smaller premium brand, quote-unquote, like Pulsar, for example, or whatever it is. So the stock cable, not my personal favorite, but, I mean, it does the trick. Again, personally speaking, I would much rather see a softer wrapping, much more flexible cable, because that way you can use the mouse wired. In this current iteration, you can just see how tense this cable is. It's not going to be a good experience for wired, which is disappointing to see, but it is what it is. And then here we have a user manual for the Viper with pretty standard layout here, nothing too crazy here. Yeah, pretty basic stuff here. Oh, okay, there's some more stuff on the inside here. This is just spec information, I guess. Okay, so a fairly in-depth user manual, not too much to really talk about here. Just gives you a quick rundown of the mouse and some other stuff as well. Pretty basic here. And then the mouse comes with three stickers technically, the two RAZER logo, and then, well, what is this? Like, I guess you call it the RAZER sigil, I guess you could say. The RAZER sigil and then the RAZER logo here. And then the mouse also comes with some grip tapes. Now, hold on, my camera went to sleep, 1 second. Now, this grip tape is a familiar one, actually. This is the same type of grip tape that was included with the the Death Adder V3 wired, if I'm not mistaken, which has this, like, raised, like, triangular, hexagonal kind of texturing to it, if that makes sense. This grip tape is, in all honesty, quite disappointing. It's not very grippy. Again, big brand, stock cables, grips, and stock skates are historically pretty bad, so unexpectedly here, as expected, the cable and the grip tape are pretty bad. Skates are great. These are quite bad, though. They don't really have a lot of gripability to them. They kind of have that rubber feel. If they were flatter, they'd probably be much better, but this, like, textural design just actually works against them, in my opinion. And also, over really long-term use, this, like, etched texture is going to fill up with, like, grease and dust from your hands. So these sadly are, again, pretty disappointing, just because, again, I've used these before. I will retest them on the mouse, obviously, but again, unfortunately, they're a bit of a miss. I'd much rather see a more, like, modern take on a grip tape, personally speaking, but it is what it is. V3 now, when's the V4? Can't say. I do know, but I can't say. As much as I would love to do some leaking today, I'm not going to leak that. As much as I'd love to. Okay. Okay, we'll put that back there for now. Okay, that's that. Okay, so unboxing experience overall pretty good. The only real issue areas, in my opinion, would be the included grips and the stock cable, as I just mentioned. Again, the stock skates on the mouse are actually really good. I do quite like these, which is a surprise because generally speaking, my bigger brand stock skates are pretty bad. This is a nice change, but again, on the Viper V4, I would definitely like to see them improve both the grip tape and the stock cable to make it a little better. Now, the mouse itself is actually, again, like, kind of a much bigger shape than I expected. Now, this is kind of designed to go directly against the GPX. That's kind of like you have the Team Red, excuse me. Brain work. You have the Team Green and Team Blue battle that's been going on for forever. So this mouse is more directly aimed at competing against the GPX, which is a year and a half later review, man. Hey, I just got it, bro. What am I supposed to do? No, it's okay. But anyways, so this one is basically more supposed to be a direct competitor against the GPX, as you can tell, because it's a much bigger shape than the previous iterations of the Viper. But I will say, again, I have very large hands, but the mouse is actually quite comfortable for my hand size, which is a welcome change. So that is something very nice to see there. It is a good shape for the mouse. In terms of like profiles, it's a pretty like average symmetrical shape implementation with like a centralized peaking hump there. You have a much more gradual decline towards the rear and a slightly sharper decline towards the front of the mouse. So again, lots of areas for palm contact here, so you can do a lot of different grip styles with it, which is nice to see. The mouse's coating is actually pretty good. Actually, that reminds me, let me grab my Death Adder to see how they compare. I wanted to grab this earlier to test it and see how similar they were. Okay, so here's my beloved Death Adder. So the coating between them, this coating has that kind of chalky rubberized feel to it, where you kind of, if you scratch it, you can kind of feel that like chalkiness to it. This coating feels much more matte. It doesn't necessarily have that, it kind of has that rubberized feel, but there's much less chalkiness on this coating in particular. Now again, there is going to be a slight difference between the black and the white coatings on all of Razer's mice, as there is with every mouse in the market. So I'm assuming the black version of the Viper V3 is going to have a coating more akin to the Death Adder V3, maybe a little more rubberized. I'm not 100% sure on that one, but the coating here is again more rubberized, less chalky, still grippy, but not as grippy as the Death Adder V3's coating in my opinion. But again, I have very sweaty hands, so a lot of coatings don't really operate as they are supposed to, quote unquote, with my hands, but it's still grippy enough. Like, I don't feel like I would slip during use per se, but it doesn't have that like anchoring strength. Like, if I'm gripping this, I feel like I have to be like slightly conscious of if my finger is going to be slipping. On here, I just don't feel that at all, because like I know it's going to stay in place. But again, that may change over time. We'll see how the coating fares over testing. Let me quickly repackage this. Actually, hold on. Before I repackage this, so just so we have a comparison point here, this is the Death Adder V3's main clicks, and this is using the old Razer switches. Hopefully that came through. So that is the what are these? What gen are these? I think these are Gen 3, Gen 2s. Oh no, these are Gen 3s. Are these the same gens? Okay, so they are using the same gen. So both these mice are using the same gens, but here's the Viper's main clicks. They have a very different sound to them. I'm not exactly sure. I will say they feel pretty similar in terms of their click feel, but there is definitely a noticeable difference in the audio feedback on the Viper's Gen 3 switches. Now, I'm assuming maybe they made some alterations to these switches between the Death Adder V3 and the Viper. Maybe that's why there's a difference, but there is a noticeable difference between them. But that said, again, I will say it's a bit of a unique click feel. Again, one thing I've really noticed that's really odd with these big brands is that they always have very odd main click implementations, because like the GPX has these like super pingy, almost like sound abrasive main clicks. These clicks don't have that issue, but they have a very unique audio feedback to them, which isn't necessarily like a bad thing by any means, but it definitely is a little different. I'm trying to think of how to describe how they sound. It's like, it's not that they're tinny, and it's not that they feel cheap, they just kind of feel hollow in terms of their audio, if that makes sense. It's a little odd. It could also be just due to the shell design as well. Like, don't get me wrong, the main clicks feel like they feel really good. I have no complaints about the actual implementation. Just the audio feedback is a little odd, kind of like what we saw in the Pulsar X2 series mice, like the X2H and the X2V2, with the kind of odd Razer switches. But this is kind of something we see in all Razer switches, so nothing too, not a bad thing per se, but something definitely worth keeping in mind. I will say though, compared to the GPX, the main clicks are a much better sound. Actually, here, I'll give you a sound test between them. 1 second. Just because I found these to be atrocious. For context, here is the GPX's main click sound. So you see how this has that like super pingy, almost like it very akin to an Omron because it is an Omron switch, but it has that like abrasive pinginess to it that like regular Omron SKUs don't have. This doesn't have that issue, but it still has a very unique audio profile to it, if that makes sense. Again, not a bad thing, but just something worth mentioning because RAZER switches always have some kind of weird audio to them. But again, I'm sure you could probably mod the switches out if you really wanted to. Anyways, the side button design here is pretty similar to what we saw in the Death Adder V3, kind of having these like blade, or I guess you could say fang-like shaped side buttons. Their click feel is pretty good. I'll give you a quick sound test of the buttons. I'm not sure if they actually picked up because they're kind of quiet, but they do feel good. They definitely are, they're probably using... I can't quite tell. It's either we can't tell what the SKU is. They kind of feel like Omrons, but I maybe like Omron micro blue, maybe like black shell blue dots or something. It could be maybe. I'm not sure what they are exactly, but they feel pretty okay. I'm not getting RAZER. I'm also done with Ponage. 2 Stormbreaker Max with left mouse button climbing. Mouse company can't figure out a quality of the clicks horde experience. Yeah, there's a lot of brands lately who have been having trouble with click implementation. I think the only ones that have been doing a really good job right now have been... who's been doing really good with clicks lately? Pulsar's been... honestly, Pulsar has been doing really good with those new FE opticals. Those do feel really nice, but I know Pulsar's QC is kind of like hit or miss. Anyways, side buttons though feel pretty good. They are sharing the same coating as the rest of the shell, but the kind of edges of these buttons aren't coated, so there is like a... if you have like really small hands, you might notice the slipperiness like on those areas, but they're still like flat in their surface areas, so they're decently grippy, which is nice to see. So kind of same as the rest of the shell. And then the scroll wheel is using kind of like a linear dotted texturing, kind of like what we saw in G-Wolves mice, if that makes sense, kind of similar to that. Scroll wheel has like a pretty average scroll feel with like semi-pronounced scroll points. It can be controllable, but I can see like if you scroll wheel clicking at certain positions, you could accidentally scroll it. Scroll wheel click feels fine, no real complaints there, pretty average. But yeah, it feels okay. Definitely a little bit of a looser wheel than, personally speaking, I'd like, but again, it's not bad by any means. But yeah, that's pretty much everything for the mouse. Oh yeah, and then I already talked about the coating, but the coating is really impressive on this thing as well. But yeah, let me just grab my scale and I'll weigh it just to see what the weight's going to be. Speaking of Poe, did you receive your Stormbreaker Max? No, I haven't ordered or been offered to send any future Ponage mice after the whole Trinity review, which, to be fair, I kind of saw coming. To be fair, though, I am kind of also a little done with Ponage in terms of their, like, constant QC issues on their units. I'm getting kind of tired of making long videos about them making really bad design decisions, so even if they offered to send something, I'd probably decline it at this point, in all honesty. Anyways, okay, in terms of weight spec, as I talked about earlier, the mouse is rated to be 55 grams, but the white version is rated to be more around 56 grams due to the white coating, and my unit weighs in at 55.23 grams, give or take. So again, a little over the advertised weight spec, but still technically, okay, it's lower than the advertised weight spec. It's heavier than the black version, but for the white version, that's pretty good. And again, there is no plus minus gram ratio on RAZER's advertised weight specs here, which is kind of nice. So again, it's nice to see a company actually have accurate weight specs instead of the traditional, hey, we're just going to say it's 40 grams plus minus like 5 grams, and then that's how it normally goes nowadays. Bro, U.S. brands don't like Canadian opinion. Yeah. To be fair, though, actually, okay, I was gonna say, I'm not. Should I say this? Okay, I'm not. Okay, I'll tell the story of why. Okay, so apparently, what I was told is that RAZER. I've been on RAZER's radar for a while in terms of reviewing their products. They didn't send it to me because I take the stuff apart, and they were worried I was gonna break it. And then they changed their mind, but apparently I reached out to a bunch of my other reps, and apparently they all said the same thing. Like, initially, brands don't want to send me stuff because I take it apart. I guess a lot of brands are kind of scared to have people, like, open up the internals, which is kind of funny to me, because, like, it works in their favor because you're getting a free repair guide. for sending it over. I thought it was kind of funny. But yeah, no, that's why Razer hasn't sent out any stuff before. But hopefully I'll be changing after this review, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, okay, that's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about here. Oh, one other note I did want to make. I will say I am a little disappointed the mouse doesn't come with an extra set of skates. Now, I know a lot of big brand mice tend to not come with extra skates, but that is a nice thing. It does make the unboxing experience just a little bit better, and I would have liked to see them include an extra set of skates. That would make the overall use case of the mouse much better, because these stock skates are actually quite good, and I would actually, like, if there was a second set, I would probably take these off, test aftermarkets on the mouse, and then put back a second set on right away. So maybe with a future version of the Viper V4 or the Death Adder V4 or whatever else they're working on, it'd be nice to see an extra set of skates included with the mouse, because again, this thing is not cheap. It's like $270 Canadian. It's like up there with the GPX, which also didn't come with extra skates, but unlike the GPX, which has like probably the worst stock skates I've ever seen in my life, these are very usable. So that would be something I would suggest to Razer, in addition to fixing the grip tape and the stock cable. That would be something they can do to make the overall unboxing experience for the mouse a little better. But again, it's a pretty minimal thing. It's a pretty minimal thing, all things considered. But yeah, okay, that's pretty much everything for this aspect. So let me go ahead. I'm just going to put a BRB screen back up. I'm going to go to my PC, switch everything over, and then we will do some testing of the mouse, and I'll go talk about the software and all that stuff as well. So give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Alright, we're back. Sorry about that, everyone. Apologies. Of course, my camera's all messed up now. Hold on 1 second. Let me just reset this. That should be a little better. Okay, cool. Awesome. We're good. Okay. Alright, let me quickly get this unboxed and get this set up, and then we'll talk about the software as well. Just give me a couple minutes for this. Here, I'll put on hand cam while I'm doing this, I guess. There we go. Okay, cool. You can see my water bottle stash chat. Okay. Gotta get my coffee as well, Chad. Can't forget that. Favorite mouse? I'll be honest with you, I don't necessarily have a favorite mouse because I've tested so many. There's definitely some highlights. I would say, like, no bias or anything like that. The Death Adder V3 is a fantastic mouse I really like. Centali S10, Wise Owl OGM Pro V2 is great. Oh god, there's so many. What else? Orbital Pathfinder, obviously, that's an incredible mouse. There's a lot of other ones. I just realized the stock cable for this mouse is really long. It's like way longer than I thought it was. That's actually a nice attention to detail. I know that doesn't seem like something that would matter a lot, but that actually does matter a lot in terms of like esports usage. That actually makes a huge difference. Hold on, let me I gotta make a quick note about this because that is something worth noting. 1 second, chat. Hot swap is going to become common in the future. 100%. I think, because think about it, like if a brand is making a mouse, and if like a brand is making a mouse, and for like let's say they're using a Switch people don't like, the fact that they're losing out on a potential sale because of one small aspect that can be very easily be fixed, it will most likely become a much longer, it'll become like a common thing. The only problem is that technically speaking, a company owns the rights to hot swap, so implementing it is difficult without soldering. PC when? No ETA, unfortunately. We're still waiting. So initially, I was supposed to get an AMD build, but now it's being swapped to an Intel build. But I'm waiting for parts now again, unfortunately. So I'm just kind of still stuck in this limbo of waiting for components, which is really unfortunate, but it is what it is. Quick question, full size or dot skates? Yeah, I was going to say very much personal preference. It depends on your use case. If you want, I think I would say like more, I think what's more important is the type of skates you get. Like if you, because like, okay, for example, X-ray pad skates. If you want a faster glide, you can get Jades. If you want a more controlled glide, you can get Obsidians. That's more impactful than the shape. Now, some people do have preferences for shapes because smaller surface areas are much faster. But again, it is very much up to personal preference. There's no like best size per se. I mean, I guess if you're using glass pads, I guess dots are better, but I mean, it's very, very much up to personal preference. Okay, let me quickly put this back here, get rid of this. Okay, let me just open the software now. Sorry for the wait, I apologize, chat. Okay. Go to... There we go, that's better. Okay, cool. I'm a full-size skate guy because I'm a control fan, mud pads, and core pads. See, yeah, that's the thing. Like, I will say, previously speaking, I'm much more of a donut skate person, but I have started to enjoy using some full-size skates. But, yeah. Hold on, let me just turn this on real quick. I still need to figure out how the power button works in this thing. Okay, there we go, it's better. Okay. Alright, so here is the software. So just a quick disclaimer, this is the Synapse 4 version. This is the new version of Synapse. I know RAZER Synapse definitely has a reputation, which I definitely understand as I've had to use it before. That said though, Synapse 4 is better, but it is still very heavy, which I dislike. One great thing Asus did is that they made the Keras software like a standalone, so you could only download the driver for the mouse and nothing else. I would love to see RAZER do that because all this extra stuff in here, I don't need any of. None of this is necessary. I don't need any of this. I want a way to just have this on the mouse. Kind of like what Synapse 3 was, if that makes sense. But again, Synapse 3 was a lot of thing. Hey, what's up, Rolf? Oh yeah, I had to turn it off. I just don't know how to turn the mouse on properly. Anyways, that said though, surface area skates design offers. That is, I will say, I am enjoying that as well. I do like the surface area, and I do think the skate design of the V3 Pro is much better than the Logitech's for sure. Not as necessarily as good as other brands per se, but it's definitely good for like a big brand. Anyways, okay, so here is the software here, pretty straightforward. So there's all the profiles here, pretty standard cycling here as well. You can rebind these as well, which is nice to see. So there's a bunch of options for that as well. It does also support the hype shift as well, so you can change the secondary function to all these as well, which is a cool thing to see. Let me see here. We have a status indicator for the dongle here, which you can kind of tell what you want for the connectivity type, which is a nice little attention to detail. Again, some people like hate lights on dongles, so this is actually kind of a nice thing. So you can turn it off and only have it show when the thing's almost dead. So that is a nice thing to see there. I'll put that back to battery status. Next up, out of the performance tab, so the mouse does have 5 onboard DPI profiles, which you can turn off or enable. I'm just going to turn these off and leave it onto here. Now, I forgot to mention also, this mouse is using the Focus Pro Gen 2, which is just a Pixart 3970, or just a SKU of that, because Razer still has exclusivity on it, kind of similar to the 3950 that everyone's now using. So it's going to be, the two sensors are very similar. The 3970 does have some better performance features with some things, and better compatibility with glass as well, but that's a whole other thing I'll talk about in the full review. So there are the DPI things as well. Here, there is the sensitivity matcher as well, which is a very cool little feature I will be talking more about in the full review, because this is actually quite handy, and it actually does work really well. So if you're switching from an old Razer mouse to a new one, I'm not sure if it supports other brands' mice, but regardless, this is a really cool thing, because again, different sensors do have different levels of DPI deviation, albeit very slightly on some more modern sensors. But if you're going from like a Razer Cobra, which has a pretty bad sensor, to the Viper V3, this is a really nice feature to make sure you have the same feel on it, so this is a nice thing to see as well. We have the polling rate settings here. Now, one other really cool thing you can do here is you can adjust the polling rate. So you can set the default polling rate of the mouse here, and then have the in-game polling rate switch. So you can set the mouse to set 1000 Hertz during general use, and the moment a full screen game launches, it'll bump up to 8000 Hertz, which is a nice attention to detail. I'll test how this works in terms of like game hook compatibility, because I know sometimes things like this are a little iffy, but this is a nice feature. It does support other brands. Calibrate off my Lamzu Thorn when I got my Viper V3. Okay, thank you for confirming that. I wasn't sure what it supported, but thank you very much. I appreciate that. I literally just took off smaller dots of donuts to increase speed on my height scan hyperlight, and I'm using QCK performance speed. Still use a glass pad. Man, glass pads are pretty good. I like glass pads. And then last at the bottom here, we have the Windows mouse properties. Pretty straightforward here as well. Next thing, we have power settings here. So your auto sleep timer, which goes from 1 minute to 15 minutes, pretty standard there. And then the low power modes, you can adjust this to go into the low power mode, which will lower the report rate and all that stuff at certain percentages. Now, interestingly enough, you can set it to go below 100%, which is very odd. I'm not exactly sure what this does in like actually what it does to the sensor, but this is kind of an odd thing. But regardless, we're just going to push this down to 5%. For calibration, we have all this information here. So we have our low, medium, and high LOD levels, the 0.7, 1mm, and 2mm, if I'm not mistaken. I think it actually may support more levels, but I think that's with the asymmetrical cutoff, because there's all these extra things. So you can basically have the default 0.7, 1, or 2mm, or the 11 step, I think. Oh no, 26 step. Holy shit, that's a lot of LOD levels. There is a lot of other options here as well, which is nice to see as well. Again, I personally don't find this feature very useful, so that is what it is, but just, it is what it is. Having above 2K polling kills battery life. Yeah, that is true. You're right. Yeah, 4K and 8K specifically just nuke battery lives, that's for sure. Well, I was going to say, because they're advertising the Viper's 95 hours, but I don't think they specify what report rate that was measured on, if I'm not mistaken, so I'll have to see how over testing how it fares. And lastly, we have this. So this is actually a really cool thing as well. So this is called dynamic sensitivity. So this is basically raw Excel built into Synapse, which is a pretty cool. Oh, can I full screen this? I'm an idiot. I didn't even know I could full screen it. Okay, I'm an idiot. Okay, it has dynamic sensitivity, which is basically just raw Excel built into Synapse, which is a cool feature. Personally speaking, I've never bothered with it, but I know a lot of people who play Splitgate specifically really like this feature, because a lot of the time you have to do very quick 180s for people who portal behind you. So a lot of people did utilize raw Excel. I know people in Valorant do use it as well, but these were calibrated, if I'm not mistaken, with a bunch of FPS pros as well. So these are like various levels you can kind of set to as well, and there's also a custom one as well. So this is also another cool thing. Again, I don't like this. I don't like raw Excel. This is just something I don't touch. But again, it's something, if you want it, it's inside the system, which is nice to see. You don't rely on a second program. And then lastly, we have the rotation, which is a tool I've really started to really enjoy, because I use a tilted grip, and I didn't realize how bad tilted grip feels without the sensor rotation until I started to use it on the OGM Pro, and then now I can't not use it on everything else. So this is a really nice feature, and there's also a tool that does help you find the proper angle for your mouse, which is again a really cool thing. I will talk more about this later, but I did want to note that unlike the 3950s, which only have a 33-degree range for the tilt, this one goes all the way to 44. So you can tilt this quite significantly to match your grip style. So if you use like a crazy grip style, you can actually tilt this quite far, which is a really nice attention to detail. Again, another benefit of the 3970 here. Okay, and then that here, we have a profile migration here as well, which you can profile, you can bring in profiles from Synapse 3, which is nice to see. We have a bunch of settings here as well. Now, unfortunately, thank God, I've been looking for this forever. Thank God, I want to turn this off. It's shit's annoying as hell. For some reason, to auto launch the desktop, it's a pain in the ass. So I'd recommend turning this off as well. I'm turning these off, and I'm turning all this off as well because this is just a pain in the ass. So we'll leave all that for now. And there's some general stuff here as well, which we'll leave for later. And then there's some help stuff there. There's a battery there. There's a manual here as well, which kind of, oh, what this is. Oh, this is a manual for dynamic sensitivity. Yeah, that's pretty much everything for here, I think. I don't think there's anything else I missed. But overall, not bad. Again, my biggest gripe is while the actual features of Synapse are great, there's just so much extra stuff in this software I don't want. So this is definitely something I would like to see. I would love to see them do what RAZER did, where you can either download Armory Crate, which has everything like basic Synapse, or only download just the driver itself, which is something I would like to see. But like, there's all this extra stuff. It's like, it's too much. Again, if you have a bunch of RAZER products, I get it. It's the same. It's the same logic that Asus used with Armory Crate, where if you have a bunch of Asus products, synchronizing everything is much easier. But for people like myself who just want raw performance, just having just default only access to the mouse's settings is much better. But again, that's very much a nitpick on my part more than anything. But yeah, that's pretty much everything. Well, if you have low power, you can't use low power mode if you have higher than 1000 polling rate. Okay, that makes sense. I figured as much. I've always wanted to try the rotation in Synapse, but didn't want to impact my performance with non-RAZER mice when I swap around. That's the one thing, because now what's happened is now that well, to be fair, RAZER had the rotation thing before pretty much everybody else, if I'm not mistaken, and now everyone's catching up. But a lot of 3950s, even though a lot of 3950s support the tilt, it's not enabled on a lot of mice. Like the Orbital Pathfinder, for example, that's using a 3950, but it has no center tilt or no 0.7mm LOD, which is very odd. So that is one thing, because I personally love the center tilt feature, but then when I go to use another mouse that doesn't have the center tilt, it feels terrible. So like, it's a cool feature. I just wish it was more widely accepted, because a lot of brands don't implement it because it's really hard to do, which sucks, but it is what it is. I missed somebody. What is the difference between donut and dots? So basically, the main difference is that you can think of donuts as like a bigger dot skate with an inverted surface area. Dots are more controlled because they have a larger surface area, but they maintain the even axis balancing. However, their larger size makes them more compatible with like smaller with softer pads, for example. So you can use donut skates on extra soft base pads, but you can't use dots, if that makes sense. That's pretty much the difference. But yeah, okay, well, that's pretty much everything for the whole unboxing and first impressions. Overall, the mouse does feel good. Again, I have like some fairly minimal nitpicks about some small aspects of the mouse, but overall it does feel quite good. I really don't have many complaints about it. Again, we'll see how it holds out over testing, and we'll see when I take it apart how good it stays, because I'm very interested to see what the internals on the inside of this guy are like. But overall, pretty impressed so far with the RAZER product. Again, I haven't really talked about the GPX too much, but like, again, I don't want to say I'm harping on the GPX, but I will say the usage experience of the Viper is astronomically better than the GPX from what I've personally seen so far, because the shape is just way better, in my opinion, way better. Software experience is also pretty good too, but that's nice to see. But anyways, okay, let's go ahead and start some testing. I was going to play Splitgate, but unfortunately Splitgate does not run on my PC, so I can't play Splitgate. Even though they announced a Battle Royale yesterday, which really is sad, so... I mean, to be fair, I don't care about the Battle Royale mode at all, but it would have been fun to play something today, but it is what it is. Did you try using the mini dot skate inside the donut skate for life change? Oh god, no. I do not recommend doing that, because they have a sharp 90-degree edge to them. They're terrible on some pads. Awful, in fact. I know you can, but I would not recommend it. They're not good. I've tried. Okay, I will say they're great on glass, but they're great on glass. I will say that, but any soft pad, they're abysmal. Quite funny, you stock for full X-ray state, never pull the trigger to test the donuts. That is true. I mean, I will say I've always been a donut guy, but I am starting, like, specifically the Jade Ultras really impressed me. I really like the Ultras. So, like, I'm kind of getting back into full-size skates. The thing for me is, like, the reason why I prefer donuts so much is because I change mice so much. Having a consistent skate type on all the mice I test makes testing way easier, because like I always test mouse's stock skates, but like if I go from oh shit, oh that's kind of cool. Look at that. If I go from this mouse to a G-Wolves mouse, the skates are totally different. So being able to put donuts on everything made everything a little more consistent. But again, not everyone's swapping mice nearly as much as I am, so I get why people don't do it. Sorry. Hiccups, I apologize. Glass pads are ass, got the Singularity, and now it's on my shelf. You didn't like the Singularity? I haven't gotten that one myself yet, unfortunately. I will say glass is something that takes a lot of time to get accustomed to. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me just make sure I didn't leave the polling rate as like 8,000 hertz in Synapse. 1 second, chat. That'd be pretty funny if I did that. Calibration, power, performance. Okay, no, it's set to 1K. Okay, we're good. I was gonna say, glass like takes a lot of time to get used to. Like when I first used glass, it took me about like probably a month and a half to get like consistent on it. And you also need to be really careful with the products you use because like you have to use proper skates. Like I would not use any kind of mouse stock skates on glass. It'd be a horrible experience. Like you need to use some kind of like proper glass optimized skate. That makes the experience so much better. Okay, what are we doing today? We have to do... I don't remember who I've beaten the game on. Is there a way to tell who you've beaten the game with, chat? Because I don't know. I'm assuming no. I don't think I beat the game with Hunter. Best time A. Off-record, did you guys play the new Deltarune character? No, I haven't played Deltarune, actually. I loved Undertale. Undertale was a great game, but I never really got back into it. Got kicked to finals once for cheating because of AK polling rate. Yeah, the finals is weird with that. Also, speaking of, when I get the new PC, we are probably going to be playing a lot of the finals, by the way. Because that game is a game I've really been wanting to play. And I've heard it's gotten so much better. I know my initial experience with it was not great, but I've heard that game has gotten so much better. I really want to see what all the fuss is about. To be fair, though, Splitgate's anti-cheat used to do that as well. Splitgate's old Equate anti-cheat used to do the same thing, where if you're using AK polling rate, it would detect you as hacking. It's like, ooh, hello. Yeah, we're taking that. It's some weird integration with the anti-cheats, like hooking or something, whatever it's called. No, like, I really want to play like, there's so many games I want to play, chat. Like, I still haven't played Doom. I haven't played Doom. I haven't played, like, all these other games I really want to play, and my PC just does not support them, which, like, sucks. Finals detects aim lab as a cheat software. Oh, yeah, all these anti-cheat software is used by, like, most aim trainers will be detected as a cheat. I don't know why. It's there's some weird... I know, like, that used to happen with Splitgate all the time with Kovacs anti-cheat. I feel like this is like the easiest run. Can't use AK, but let's use aim assist. Yeah, literally. Like, they ban you for AK hertz polling, but then you can't use, like, if you use like an overclocked controller, it's like, yeah, it's fine. Aim assist in the big 25. Dude, honestly, okay, no, real talk. Splitgate's aim assist implementation makes me want to die, not gonna lie. That shit is so overtuned again. I don't know what I just pooped off of, but that was kind of cool. What game is this? RoboQuest. Yeah. I want to try, not gonna lie. There's a free demo on Steam for it. It's awesome. It's such a fun game. It's literally... Like, I know I play it all the time when I stream, and that's mainly because I can't play anything else, but, like, RoboQuest has become, like, my go-to, like, testing game, because it's so fun. because it's really dynamic in how it plays. So like there's a lot of variability to the aim, so it's really good for testing mice. It's like basically testing it in an actual FPS game without the bullshit, you know? I need like a honestly, I like this gun, but like it's not that good, unfortunately. That said, though, Chad, there is 2 games I got announced. Okay, Chad, did anyone watch Summer Games Fest yesterday? Can we talk about how mid that show was? Like, no offense to like Jeff or anyone who runs the show, but like the show itself wasn't the problem. The game announcements were horrible. There's a snooze fest. There's nothing good. Like there was only 2 games yesterday that had like any interest in what they were. There's the new that Lego like co-op game, which actually looks like mad fun. Like there's that, and then there was IO Memories Lost or whatever that looked like a Hollow Knight kind of ish game. And then there was like a couple other miscellaneous things, but like aside from that, the game announcements were like pretty mid yesterday. And then there was the whole Splitgate debacle, which is just that's a nightmare. I'm pretty sure that killed the games. That's a whole other thing as well. GG was fun while it lasted. Without the bullshit, Night Rain was peak. How is Night Rain? I have never played a Dark Souls game. Not because I don't like hard games. I just like I hate the way the mechanics of that game are. If that makes sense. Like not like a skill issue way. I just find the game really clunky, and like I just don't have time. Like I love hard games. Like I love games like Hollow Knight. Like those are like I love hard games. But like if I play Doom, I'm playing on Ultra Nightmare and nothing else. Like if I'm playing Metroid, I'm playing on hard. Like I don't have like I like hard games. I just found everything about Dark Souls to be so clunky. To be fair though, the only Dark Souls I think I've tried was DS1, which I'm pretty sure is just like a joke compared to the new ones. But I will say the idea of Night Rain is pretty cool. Like I like the concept of like almost like an open world kind of idea. Dark Souls ain't hard IMO. See, that's also like the kind of like I feel like a lot of the difficulty from Dark Souls comes from like the weird mechanics of that game. Like I feel like that's what makes it difficult more than anything. I mean, maybe I'm just like maybe that's like cope like on my side, but like I feel like the game's not at its core that difficult. Like I feel like doing like the Path of Pain in Hollow Knight is way harder. But again, I haven't played, so who am I to say? What game is this? It's called RoboQuest. It's like there's a free demo for it on Steam. It's like a little like arena, like it's like an FPS game. But it's like robots. It's very fun. I love how RoboQuest stopped. Is like the devs were like, yeah, we're done with RoboQuest, and then like every single day I'm like plugging RoboQuest. Confusing at stage of the biggest game announcement platforms. Yeah, no, I agree. The BR announcement was like, the thing is, here's the thing, chat. They had to do a BR. Like, that's the thing, because the entire meme is that Halo still doesn't have a BR. So, like, the entire meme is that they made the BR before Halo did. Like, everyone knew it was going to BR. That was going to be no secret. But it's just like, I think the way it was announced was just very poorly done. I definitely think that's done more harm than good, which is a real shame, because the game... Like, don't get me wrong, Splitgate 2 is pretty fun. Like, it's not as good as Splitgate 1 because it's been dumbed down for the normies, which, like, I personally really dislike. But, like, that's how all games are nowadays. You have to remember that. Like, every single game is just dumbed down for normies nowadays. There's very few games that are actually difficult anymore. And I think that's why Dark Souls has had such, like, a cult following, because the game is... It's, like, the game is hard. Okay, not hard. You know what I mean. The game's challenging. I don't think hard is the proper word for it. I think challenging is a fair word. Thank God that thing died right away. LPC maybe not like if you configure them hot better, it's a lot better if it's interesting. Don't need shitty BR in my opinion. See, that's my thing. The problem is, okay, here's the problem. Arena FPS games are dead. Arena FPS games do not survive. And if Splitgate was only to do an Arena FPS, it would never survive. But if they're doing an Arena FPS a big team battle, Battlefield-esque kind of thing, a BR, and with a bunch of modes going into it, the game has way more survivability. Is it something I want or something I'll play? God, no. But it's better than nothing. It's the only thing that's going to make the game survive. Which, I mean, like, again, I don't like it. I don't think a BR is necessary, but I'm not a BR player. I hate BRs. I think they're terrible. So, like, again, I'm not necessarily I'm not exactly the advertised what's the word I'm looking for? I'm not the focus group or like the thing. But again, like, you have to remember, COD is you have to remember, Splitgate's going against COD, and what is COD's most powerful thing right now? It's Warzone. So, like, they have to go for the jugular with that. Like, they have to. And also, it works out in their favor because if they make a BR before Halo does, that also kind of does some good things for them as well. But, yeah, I don't know. It's just... Again, it's not what I really wanted. I wanted more. It is what it is. It's not a big deal at the end of the day. Like Delta Force. What's a free time game you recommend you can play with your friend? I don't know. Quake? Honestly, when people ask me what games to play, I just tell them play Quake. Not gonna lie, this is my go-to. Thoughts on the crazy X2 Crazy Light? Very good mouse. I did do a review on it if you're interested in checking that out, but it's a very good mouse. Probably the best mouse Pulsar has ever released. Very, very good mouse overall. Like, I have very few complaints about that mouse. They did a really good job with it. And there's also the Crazy Light X-Lite coming soon as well, which hopefully should be even better. Because I love the original X-Lite shape. It's one of my favorite shapes of all time. So I'm hoping that is also very good as well. We'll have to wait and see. COD's most powerful thing is releasing an update to break the game time and time over again. I agree. COD is failing miserably. This found evidence skill-based damaging the code of BO6. Oh, everyone knows that. Oh, fuck, everyone's known that's a thing for years. Are you kidding me? That's not a secret. Everyone knows that shit's been happening for time. Like, they've never confirmed it, obviously, but like, okay, like, it's very obvious that stuff's been happening. Like, peak Warzone days, you'd see, like, all the big COD streamers, like, their shit just would not work on random goobers for no reason. Like, it's so obvious. And that's the thing, like, 1047 is now in a weird place because they now have to do what COD can't do, which is a really hard thing to do. And they also have to pull away the COD community because the COD community is a bunch of goobers. Like, no offense to people who like the game, but like that, the people who play that game are some of the most self-absorbed. Like, okay, not play the game. The people who defend that game are some of the dumbest people I think I've ever met on the planet. Not everyone, again, to be abundantly clear. I'm not flaming everyone here, but like, it's insane. Does Lethal Gaming Gear still make the best paracords? I actually don't know. The only brands I know who are making paracords right now, I don't even think Lethal is making them anymore, but I think not Ponage, Piranha Mouse Mods or PMM is making them now. I know Westlab put out a tweet about them a little while ago. I would say theirs will probably be really good. But paracords aren't really, I don't really see many brands doing paracords nowadays. It's pretty hard to find. Man, I love when the shield guy has 3 other shielders on him for just no fucking reason. Like, kill me. Insane. X Crazy is gonna be ruined for me because of sensor position. What have they confirmed sensor position? I don't think they've confirmed anything yet. PMO or whatever. Who I forget who they are. Are they Piranha Mouse Mods? I have no idea who they are. I can't remember their name, but person like symmetrical shapes, but Pulsar's getting some bangers out there. Yeah, Pulsar's been in the lab lately. They've been really doing a pretty good job lately. Let's try this. I play COD. I'm trolling his PMM. Okay, thank you. I wasn't sure. The COD game since it's 8, but before you hate the game, that makes sense. Search and Destroy was the only thing kept me interested in COD, but even now that isn't enough. See, that's one thing, because like Splitgate has that firecracker mode, but like the thing is like you can't really do an objective game type in a game where everyone has portals. Like it's just, I found like it has potential. Like that mode definitely has potential, but definitely not what I was expecting it to be. Again, not a bad thing per se, but just, you know. But yeah, that's the thing. Like, don't get me wrong. I have high hopes for Splitgate. I really do hope they can do what they set out to do. It just, I don't know. Like, I get it. They're the new kids on the block. They have a lot to prove. I don't know. I feel like what happened to the Game Awards did more harm to their game than good, which really sucks. I'm going off the current X-Lite sensor position. Oh, okay, I gotcha. Hitting 20 plus careers, big growth, no key. Oh shit, you're right. I literally never look at it. Oh yeah, by the way, Chad, shameless self-plug. If in celebration for hitting 10K, by the way, I'm giving away, if you didn't see on my Twitter, I'm giving away my one-of-one IKEA glass, the original one I reviewed, and I signed it as well. So if you guys want to own a piece of peripheral history and the pad that literally started my channel, you can go enter the giveaway over on my Twitter. The link to my Twitter is in like the description, I think. But if you want to enter to see, you have a chance to win it. The giveaway ends on the 20th, if I'm not mistaken. It's unfortunately it's only open to U.S. and Canada though, because the shipping fees out of continental like Canada U.S. is insane. But if you guys want to enter, you can go ahead and do that. No, fuck. Signed. Yeah, it's on my Twitter. It should be linked. It should just be at Melon FPS. The problem is okay, I would have done that on YouTube. The problem is there's no way to really do the giveaway on YouTube with like accurately. Like there's no like way for me to do it, which is really annoying. At least not that I know of. If there was a way to do it, I probably should have done it on YouTube. I don't know how to do it. Also, I'm really sad we lost that round, but we were kind of getting outscaled, so I kind of saw that happen. Do you like the Jade skates? Personally speaking, I'm much more of an Obsidian guy, but I much prefer more control. But don't worry, the Jades are very good. I think specifically the Jade Ultra skates are really nice. I got those a little while ago because I did a video for them for X-Ray Pad, and those were really nice. I really did like those. But again, I'm more of a glass pad person. Like, I mainly use a lot of hard pads and glass pads, so like I very rarely want more speed. Middle East, I'm sorry. Trust me, if there was a way I could have done a global, I totally would have. I just cannot spend $500 to ship a piece of glass to like Asia, unfortunately. Because the problem is that it's really heavy too. Like, it's not light. It's a very heavy piece of glass. So like that's also another issue with it. I'll hopefully do some like global giveaways in the future, but we'll see. These are all kind of terrible. Actually, this actually may not be bad for us here. Don't like glass pads anyways. Fair enough then. Yeah, I was trying to figure out what I was going to get, because I was going to do a giveaway, like, the day up, but I was like, I don't know what to give away. Like, I didn't have anything. I was like, because I didn't want to, like, ask, like a brand to do a giveaway on my behalf, because it seems kind of fucked. It's like, I didn't want to take away, like, because, like, I know brands are struggling right now, so I'm like, I'm not going to say, like, hey, Lethal Gaming Gear, like, give away a bunch of shit for me. Like, you know, like, I'm sure they would have done it, but I didn't want to, like, put them in a weird position. I'm really upset that hit me. But yeah, no, so I was like, oh, well, I have that, and I don't really use it anymore, so I was like, I might as well give that away, because I figured that'd be kind of a cool collector's item, because it's like a piece of peripheral history. I want this. Perfect. My 60 gram arrived yesterday. I must say I prefer XE shape over the GPX and the V3 Pro. I think it has a lot to do with the lower click height, the back hitting my palm plus, right? Yeah, you would actually, that's funny you mentioned the XE V2. I was thinking to myself, I was like, man, the Viper V3 shape kind of reminds me of something, but I couldn't put my finger on it. But you're right, it's the XE V2 that reminds me of. That is definitely a mouse I also want to get my hands on at some point this year. Man, it's so hard because I have so many mice I want to cover. I just don't have... the problem is I just don't have enough time to cover them all. Please don't hit me. I'm so sad. VCG Masters Toronto in an hour or so? Oh, shit. Oh, that reminds me. I'm going to that on the 15th. That should be fun. So, hey, if any of y'all are in Toronto... Wait, it starts early in the morning then. Thank God. Dude, I was so tired of the VCT tournaments being so late at night. It shit was ass, not gonna lie. Did I know using their Hind Jada Rotation X2H and Hyperlight? I changed my form coming from basic mouse pads and mice. Ah, I gotcha. Yeah, that's a pretty big difference. That's a pretty big difference. Who's playing today for VCT? Is Sen playing today? I doubt Sen's playing today, but on the off chance they are. Oh, this is awkward. The fuck? Why did you start? Oh my god, that was terrible. Heretics and someone. What time is it in Ontario? It is 11:50 p.m. I'm with Heretics, yeah. Hi Tam, what mouse pad do you have? This is the Aqua Control Pro Extra Soft. Which honestly, no, like I know I work for X-Ray pad, but like no bias, this pad's really fucking good, especially the mid base. This shit's actually goated as hell. Actually a very good pad. Wait, hold on. How was Heretics there? Didn't Heretics like bomb the fuck out? Like in finals? I thought Heretics was like going through it lately. There you are. Okay, Chad, bear with me. My aim is a little off today because I'm... Okay, Chad, the last two mice I've used have had forward sensor position, so I'm, like, stuck on the forward sensor position train, so I'm a little iffy on the Viper right now. Hey, Fireball, long time no see, bro. How's it going? They lost to Fnatic in regionals, but they still got Toronto. Oh, okay, I was going to say, I remember hearing that they bombed the hell out. I wasn't sure what happened there. How's it going, Fireball? Hope you've been doing well. Joy-Con 2 review? Oh god. Honestly, as unironically as it is, that is something I might cover at some point, but... Do I take this? I mean, it's gold, I gotta take it. Does your hand get sweaty from the mouse? About like a week ago, my hand's been sweating all the time on my PC. Not really. I already have, like, pretty sweaty hands, so, like... But I haven't noticed that, like, the Viper's, like, more sweaty than anything else, I guess. If you have really sweaty hands, I would definitely recommend investing in a fan. Like, get a fan and point at your desk. That makes, like, a world of difference. Heretics versus PRX, BLG versus TL. Dude, those are some banger games. Holy fuck. Heretics via PRX is actually going to be crazy. That's actually a nuts first game. That's crazy. That's actually an insane game. No lie. That'll be a fun one to watch because both of those teams are like all over the place. All over the place. Sorry, excuse me. I already got a Viper V3 shape with the Hyperlight, and I'm debating getting the X2 Crazy Light over the V3 Pro. That's a tricky one. I think, don't get me wrong, the Crazy Light is a great mouse. It's very good. The problem is it's way smaller than the Viper V3. Like, that's the tricky part. Like, I think there would be a size difference there, because I wouldn't really put them in the same category. BLG and TL are slept on. That is true. BLG was kind of frying in CN regionals, weren't they? Well, TL doesn't have. Wait, hold on. Does TL have Nats? Because Nats had visa issues, right? He wasn't here, or maybe didn't get his visa. Did he get it or no? Because if he got it, then they're chilling. If Nats isn't there, that's a big downside. That's a huge downside for them. But to answer your question, I would say it would really depend on your hand size. Like, if you like the Crazy Light, I think the Crazy Light is more similarly shaped to the X2 Crazy Light than the Viper. Because again, like if the Viper's, because the Viper is probably going to be too big for your hand size, because it's very rare there's a symmetrical mouse that fits my hands, and the Viper fits my hand size perfectly, which means it's huge for like most people, I guess would be the proper word for it. Nat's got his visa. Okay, so that's a good game. Then I was gonna say if they're out with if they don't have Nats, it's kind of a wash. But if they have Nats, it's gonna be a good game. It's a game called RoboQuest. It's like a linear roguelike FPS that's like taken over my life. It's very fun. Highly recommend checking out if you haven't already. There's a free demo for it on Steam. It's really fun. Definitely worth playing if you want like a fun like. Imagine like how it's kind of like it takes all the good things of like other roguelikes and puts them into like a really good game. Yeah, let's troll. Why not? No, Nats didn't get his visa. Oh, GG. My tastes are so weird. I love the OP1E and the XE, an extremely narrow front with wide on the side. XE for the most part of the OP1. Time to get serious. Have you tried the G-Wolves HTX Mini, Mr. No Limit? You might like that mouse because that is really low click height as well. Because I recently tried that mouse, and that one really impressed me as well. It's like Gunfire Reborn, but a little more linear. That's a good way of advertising it, but it's really good. I should really hop on Twitter and get the latest news. Oh, hey, at least I have something to watch later while I do filming. That's great. Yeah, I was gonna say, actually, for those of you who don't know, I actually live like pretty close to Toronto, so like I'm excited to go there on for the 15th. I'm hoping the 15th is gonna be a good game. That's what I'm like. I'm worried the game's not gonna be good. Like I want it to be like a good game. I don't want it to be like a blowout game or something. Like if it's like if it's just like a blowout game, like Liquid versus some random team, and they just get like smoshed, I won't be interested in it. But I don't know. I don't hop on Twitter. That is actually the realest thing anyone said today. You're not wrong there, Rolf. You're not wrong there. Honestly, I have started to despise Twitter. Like, you guys probably noticed I'm not on social media very much, and that's because I just really hate social media. Like, especially Twitter. Like, I hate social media so much. And like, oh, I'm a content creator. I should probably be on like TikTok and all this shit. And I'm just like, I just cannot be bothered. Like, it's not worth my time. Which is like definitely bad in the long run when it comes to like actually like, you know, being discoverable. But like at the same time, I just do not want to deal with people on those platforms. I think that's a fair thing to say though. Like, I think everyone could agree that most people on those platforms are just goobers. That's a bad pull spot. We've been getting really bad runs today. I've not tried that. I generally don't like fingertip mice. OP1 is special for me. It's just enough length for me to. You may actually be able to use the HTX. Maybe look into it. Last time I hopped on Twitter, I saw two grown-ups men arguing about football teams and like it's their honor. Yeah, it checks out. Yeah, honestly, like I have a Twitter. Like the thing is I need like AK chat. If I didn't need Twitter for like talking to companies and stuff, I would never have it. I would just get rid of it in a heartbeat. I would. But like unfortunately, I need to have Twitter, which like makes me want to die. But like I don't know. Yeah, and that's the thing too, like, people on social media are just so delusional in, like, their takes and stuff, like, specifically when it comes to peripherals. Like, the stuff I've seen on TikTok when it comes to peripherals makes me genuinely question humanity's evolution. That's bad. That's bad. And, like, why am I going to waste my time putting out, like, well-thought-out content on TikTok when people are just going to argue about it and say GPX better and just, like, fight? Like, I'm not wasting my time. Like, I have better things to do. I know it seems, like, so egotistical, but it's just, like, I just don't care. What Pulsar has over G-Wolves for me personally is the software, just like the overall price and marketing. I will say, the thing is that here's the thing. G-Wolves is doing, okay, I know G-Wolves, like, definitely has a bit of a reputation, which I've heard from other people as well, which I do want to look into myself. But the thing is that, like, G-Wolves is doing stuff that other brands are too scared to do. You have to remember that. Like, what G-Wolves is doing is very important. Like, I'm not glazing or anything, like, I'm just being straight up. Like, what they're doing is very important because a lot of brands aren't necessarily innovating, per se. Like, we do see some innovating from, like, Pulsar. Like, okay, Pulsar is kind of starting to innovate a lot more, but, like, Orbital Pathfinder. Like, Orbital is, like, the most innovative thing we've seen so far. But, like, every mouse that G-Wolves has made has been, like, some crazy shape that no other company's gonna make. So, like, yeah, while G-Wolves may not have the best marketing and the best software and that kind of stuff, it is important to support them because they are doing stuff that other brands aren't doing. Digital lobotomy speedrun, that's crazy. Twitter accounts are for lurking at best. Yes, that's very fair. You're not wrong. But yeah, but, like, that's the thing. Like, I personally think what G-Wolves is doing is really, like, I think it's very important because, again, like, the community, the peripheral community is, like, the market as a whole is very stale. And I think having brands do, like, crazy unique shapes is very important. T-Rex versus Paper X right now? Oh, hell yeah. But anyways, yeah, like, again, like, that's, like, kind of what I've said, well, I guess I was going to say what you guys will see what I said about Orbital as well, because, like, spoiler, well, like, the Pathfinder wasn't necessarily a mouse I personally like, it's not a mouse I'd personally use. It's still something I want to support because no other brand is doing what Orbital is doing. So, like, while it's not a mouse I would main, it's important to support that kind of thing because we don't see brands doing stuff like them. Like, a fully modular mouse is, like, incredibly impressive. And to be fair, Orbital's implementation of it is extremely good. Like, they did a fantastic job. But, like, that's the thing. Like, Logitech is never going to do that. And the only way we're going to see brands really innovate is if we support the brands that are innovating now. Like G-Wolves, Piranha, like, all these other little companies who are really pushing the community forward. And it's really important to support them. And, like, yeah, like, don't, like, because, like, here's the thing. G-Wolves has set the landscape for having fingertip mice be, like, a thing that people actually want to buy. And now you see other brands starting to dip into that market. But I guarantee you, Pulsar never would have made a fingertip shape if G-Wolves didn't exist. They wouldn't have bothered. Because fingertip is such a niche shape in the first place. Like, why would they waste the R&D on that when they could just keep making the X2 over and over again, you know? And again, that's no shade to them. It's just these small companies are what pushes things forward. But yeah, anyways. Yap session about that over. Yeah. I just realized it probably is really dumb for me to spear that because the spear does nothing for me there, but you know what, it is what it is. Or sorry, clone that. Yeah, we're taking that. Alright, okay, chat, real quick, just a little quick catch up. Okay, so far the Viper, okay, this is the biggest, okay, and don't take us the wrong way, this is a compliment. Whenever I switch a mouse, I always feel like I'm using something unnatural. Like, if I, like, test a mouse, I feel like I'm using something I shouldn't be using sometimes at the first little while. I don't feel that here. Like, it feels normal. Like, I don't feel like I'm using a new shape, per se. If that makes sense. Kind of hard to, like, quantify what I mean by that, but, like, it feels normal, which is a good thing. I guess, to be fair, it is a symmetrical mouse. That's, like, kind of to be expected, but, like, still. I need to figure out how to get up here. Chad, does anyone have any idea how to get this data log here? Have you played Balatro? No, I have intentionally avoided Balatro because I know what it would do to me. The hell do you get to this? There must be like a secret somewhere. That's fine. I'll get it later. I'm looking at HGX Ace right now. This honeycomb got me apprehensive, but I see what you're saying about shape click height. So the thing about the honeycomb is that you have to remember G-Wolf's mice are designed not to be... They don't have coatings. So the honeycomb is more of a textural thing because it's for like structure. What happens is that you're supposed to use the mice with the included grip type. So like basically like yeah, the honeycomb stuff will, like doesn't look very comfortable to grip, and to be fair, it is not comfortable to the hands. If you use the included grip tape, it's not a problem. I'm hooked when I sleep, I daydream. Yeah, no, I heard Balatro was like, just took over everything. I just like, with my history and knowing how much I would get like hooked into games like that, I can't. Trust me, as much as I would like to absolutely just go bonkers and just play Balatro 24/7, I just can't do that to myself. That's just rude. Who is alive? Oh, this guy's alive. Damn, that guy's been there the whole time. Let me see. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, I was gonna say, this actually feels really good. And like, normally I feel like my hands would be like slipping a little bit because I was worried about the coating not anchoring as well, but it's actually anchoring really well. Like, I actually don't, like, I can like hold the mouse perfectly fine, which is really good. Because I was initially thinking, I was like, oh shit, the coating just like wasn't as grippy as the Death Adder V3, so I was worried the coating would be kind of but it's actually really good. This is a welcome change. Oh, you're still alive somehow. Okay, got it. Dude, the worst thing about this map is just these constant little mini turrets. These fuckers are so annoying. I can't believe I had to waste a spear to kill that thing. That's awkward. Chat, keep me posted on this. Keep me posted on the Heretic score. Let me know how that game's going. Wow, that's a lot of stuff. Okay, that's a lot of bad things. Man, we need like a big carry item right now, but we're not getting it. Instead, I just have to deal with these constant mini turrets. Shit's annoying as hell. Oh, chat, 1 second. I'm pretty sure. 1 second. I'm pretty sure my YouTube chat is bugged again. Sorry, 1 second. YouTube chat does this thing where it just like stops working randomly. It's pretty fun. A very fun feature. Okay, at least I can kill these little guys by just like sonar spiking here and just burning everything, but it's still very annoying to kill everything here. These are not carry items, unfortunately. I was really hoping we get something good, but no such luck. These are all terrible. Damn, that sucks. I was really hoping we'd have something good here. I think we buy... It's a feature, not a bug, true. I think we buy the Venture just to have it. Like, don't get me wrong, the other one is pretty good, Lynx Rifle, whatever it's called, but this one's better. Wow, that's a lot of things here. Of course, you're just sitting there as well. Oh, checks out. How does that guy live that? Okay. Sure, man. Oh, shoots a rocket. Fuck yeah. That's great. I just need like a reload speed perk on this thing and we're chilling. Not gonna lie. Man. Gauss Rifle would be kind of cool, but that's just not going to do it for us right now, unfortunately. Not gonna lie, what's carrying us right now, chat? As crazy as it sounds, the perk we have that sets things on fire when they're marked is hard carrying us. Because we basically have like a throwable AoE that's just killing all these little things that's like literally the only thing that's keeping us alive right now, which is insane to say. But I mean, hey, if it works. Okay, we actually may get through this in one piece. I didn't think we were going to make it out of this floor, but here we are. Well, that's not good. Bro was in the worst possible spot. Perfect. Holy shit, we actually made it. Let's go. Okay, we're kind of cooking. Core gameplay kind of looks like a lot like Gunfire Reborn. Yeah, it's like, imagine, like, Gunfire is a little more like Risk of Rain 2-esque. Like, this is more of like PRX-1 pistol. Okay, sweet. Thank you for the heads up there. What was I going to say? Yeah, it's like, it's a little more linearized, if that makes sense. Like, it's more set levels. Ow. Basically, the name of this game is just going to be keeping this guy perma-marked, I think. That's going to be the how we do this, I think. I still have to play... Actually, that's what I should get next. I should get Gunfire Reborn. I should buy that next. Damn, the spears do so much damage. Holy fuck. Bye. Gunfire is a lot... Oh, Gunfire is linear? Oh, it is. I didn't know that. I thought Gunfire was a little more, like, open... Not open world, per se, but, like, that was a little more like Risk of Rain 2, where it's, like, wider levels. I didn't know that. I mean, to be fair, I'm kind of... we can play it together. I'll have to buy it. I'm still... I mean, like I said, I put like almost 100 hours into this so far. Ooh, is that... This might be the play. Actually, but no, it's not the play. We need... perfume this, I think. Cryo damage. Okay, let me do... 4 shots trigger an explosion. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, and then we do... I mean, you know what? We might as well just roll this, right? We have 19. Deal shock damage. 4 cryo. Okay, that's really good. Okay, we full upgrade this. And then... burn. Yeah, okay, that's really good. Okay, we stick with that. That's pretty good. And then we do... So terrible perfumes, unfortunately, which really sucks, but it is what it is. Yeah, I'm down to play it sometime, Fireball, when I get it. Chad, Steam Sale's coming up soon, right? That was easy. What would you say is the best overall cloth mousepad? Ooh, that's a tough one. Okay, there isn't... Okay, the thing is when you say overall best mousepad, you have to be... So, are you considering what kind of game you're playing? Are you talking best overall, like round, or like well-rounded, usable for everything? Or are you talking like speed or control, like... Oh, man. Are you talking like optimized for like a certain game type? Because there's a big difference. And there's not even, I was gonna say, even in those individual categories, it's not even like there's a best one, quote unquote. There are just like some ones that are really good. Like, if you want hybrid pads that are like good for like everything, like X-Ray Pad's an awesome brand because like almost all of their mouse pads are hybrid in terms of their performance profiles. But like sometimes they lean a little more towards like control or speed. More competitive games. So like give me the game type you're kind of talking about, because I'm assuming you're talking more like Valorant, but because the thing is Valorant's a bit of a unique pad, a unique game, because it has a mix of a lot of very odd aim types. I mean, to be fair, Overwatch does as well, but it's kind of like, it's a little more... CSGO Overwatch? You're probably looking at more like, I would probably say hybrid speed side of the spectrum then. Okay, just bear in mind, I do work for X-Ray Pad, so like I'm obviously like, I do work for X-Ray Pad. I do think a lot of their pads are extremely good though, so like I will mention some X-Ray pads, but like there's no bias with that. But like pads like the one I'm using right now, like the Aqua Control Pro would be like a great option because it's a very hybridized surface with like a good amount of speed to it. Like you can see, like this is with like full-size stocks, but it has softer bases, so you can press into it and get a little more control if needed. That's a good one. Kurosan, Ninja, or Samurai would also be very good. Lethal Gaming Gear, Saturn, or Hyperion would be good. There's a lot in that range, in all honesty. There's a lot of good pads in that range. Bro, come on. Oh my god. Where is this guy? Oh my god, this guy outplayed the shit out of me. Holy fuck, he's the GOAT. Dude, that one guy just ruined the run. Holy. But yeah, no, I was going to say, with the mouse, the only thing I'm like a little off with right now is my aim, because I've been using forward sensor position mice for like the past like 2 months. So going back to like a standard position is like really weird. Oh, I thought that was going to give me a rocket perk, not. Neon is heat treated. Can that affect performance? So what the heat treatment does, so actually, fun fact, a lot of mouse pads are heat treated. A lot of pads just don't disclose it. So what it means is that the Neon is going to be faster than the solid printed versions because of the heat treatment. And initially, out of the box, the pads will be faster than advertised. So if you get the extra soft version of the Aqua Control Pro, and it says it's like, okay, the extra soft is going to be more in the like hybrid control range. Initially, it's going to feel more like hybrid speed, but as the physical, because the heat treatment makes the actual physical surface threading kind of stiff, as it gets softened over use, it will go back to its advertised performance profile and be more controlled. So basically, it just means like heat treatment from the printing process just means for like the first like week and a half of use, it will be a little faster than advertised. That's it. But again, and every single mouse pad out there that has some kind of design on it is heat treated. A lot of brands just don't disclose what the heat treatment does. But like Kurosan's mouse pads have the same thing, where like they are also heat treated, but for different reasons. But that's also something to keep in mind as well. My mouse pads are fast. Mine sits in one. Okay, very funny, Fireball. I mean, hey, if you get a mouse pad with a really bad base, it might do that. But I was going to say, Smike, alternatively, if you want one without a working period, you can just get the AC Pro Black with the soft base. It will be a little more controlled, but it'll have a consistent performance profile out of the box. Chat, you want something like a really weird craving I'm having today? Just so random. I'm craving a Costco hot dog. Like a Costco hot dog and like an ice cream just like would just hit insanely good right now, you know? Get back here. I can't find what type of claw grip you use. Those will range pretty heavily depending on your hand size and finger length. Generally speaking, there's aggro claw. Like the two most common types are claw and aggro claw, but there are some other like subgenre grips as well. But generally speaking, it'll be one of those two types. Why are you looking? Why are you trying to figure that out? If you don't mind me asking. Can't relate to Costco. I'm European. Aw, man. Costco is the GOAT, not gonna lie. You guys really don't have Costco there? They have Costco's in Japan. You guys don't have Costco? That's actually crazy. I'm so sorry. That must be horrible. There's Costco in Australia, though. Imagine. Hey, Ko, Kato, I think is how it's pronounced. I'm sorry if I messed up your name. Thank you very much for becoming a channel member. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Enjoy the early access to all coming content. Actually, I was going to say, channel members are going to get early access to the Orbital Pathfinder video later today. So if you guys wanted to get early access to the longest video on the channel so far, you guys will get access early to it on probably later today or tomorrow. But thank you very much for becoming a member. I really appreciate that. Big help. All the channel members fuel the copious amounts of coffee I have to drink to keep the channel going, so thank you very much. I want to know because aggro claw by point okay, but sometimes I just can't the grip. I want to know because I claw aggro grip in the OP1, but sometimes I just can't get the grip comfortable with my pinky. It doesn't have anywhere to go in the mouse to be comfortable. In that case, I would actually say you're more, instead of trying to find a mice compatible for your grip style, because don't forget, like, okay, so for example, if, okay, so here's a good example. So, like, okay, you find a mouse for one hand size that works really well. You're better off just like, because if you already find a mouse with good performance that works good for your hand, like works okay for your hand, just get something like the either the G-Wolves Lightweight Clay or the Soul Spacer Shapeshift grips. I did a video on them, actually here, one second. Let me quickly grab this, 1 second. I'll show you what they do. So I have a similar situation. Oh, sorry. Activate. Okay, so I have a similar situation where I have really big hands and I can't really get comfortable grips on a lot of mice. So you can buy these, and they're tiny little plastic ridges you can install on the mouse. So particularly if you have weak pinky contact, you don't have anywhere to anchor it on your mouse, you can create an anchoring point on the side of the mouse just like this to make it way more comfortable. So I would say you're better off investing in something to actually change the mouse's shape rather than get a whole new mouse, because the OP1 series mice are really good. I would just get something to, like, I would just get a grip aid. But yeah, but like these, I use these a lot. Like they're one of my favorite products because I have such big hands. I can't get a comfortable grip on a lot of mice. These things are like insanely goated, and they come with extra adhesive in with them too. So if they fall off, you can re-anchor them really easily. They're called the Soul Spacer Shapeshift grips. I did a review of them a long time ago, but I would highly recommend checking these out if you want something for like making pinky ridges. These things are amazing for that. Sorry, to catch up on the chat here, I apologize. Go back to Facecam here. Okay, to catch up on chat here, do you prefer black or white mice? I don't really have a preference. My camera's all blown out, 1 second. I don't really have a preference. The only thing you should know is that a lot of the times, white mice will have different coatings than the black versions of some mice as well. So I don't really have a preference per se, but depending on the brand, some versions might have better coatings than others. So there's no real, like, it's just personal preference mainly. My sister asked if she had seen The Cat in the Bowl. I did not know. How are you liking the Neon mousepad? I just ordered mine. I really like this one. I really like hybrid pads. Like, hybrid pads have been like my go-tos forever. So I really like the Neon. It's a really nice pad in my opinion. Again, I do work for them, so with a grain of salt, but like the AC Pro Neon is a really nice pad. I really like it. I think the only, I personally speaking, I prefer the mid base though, because I like the faster feel, because I like to use a faster pad with more control skates. But it is still a very, very nice pad as well. I'll try the Aqua Control black version. It seems pretty interesting. Yeah, the AC black for your situation, I would get the AC black soft. That would probably be the go-to for what you're looking for, because that would give you the speed you need for Overwatch, but a little bit of control for like Counter-Strike and that kind of stuff. Do you think more mics should have 3-pin switches that are hot swappable? You know what's funny? Someone asked this question earlier today. I do. I would love to see hot swappability become more of a common thing. The problem is that one particular brand actually owns the copyright for or like the patent for, where am I going here? Owns the patent for hot swappable switches. So it's hard to implement it because a company owns a patent for it. Like, you can do it, but like, I think what brands need to do is they need to make I think the biggest thing, like, brands don't necessarily, it's not, okay, how do I say this? It's not necessarily the brand's responsibility, but I think there needs to be more education on how to solder. Because, like, technically speaking, all mice already have hot swappable switches. You just need to solder them yourself. But that said, though, I think what Orbital did, like the Orbital team, what they did with the Pathfinder, where the mouse supports both optical and mechanical pin layouts, is what is the proper way to do it. And I would love to see brands do that, because that way, if a user does want to swap the switches by soldering, they can do it that way. That is probably the way to go, in my opinion. Yes, unfortunately, yes, it is actually RAZER who owns the patents for that, yes. My dad told me to put ketchup on the shopping list, now I can't read it. Good God, that was horrible. Someone time on Fireball for 5 years. No, I'm kidding. But that's the thing, like, just because a company owns a patent or like a copyright for something doesn't necessarily mean they're going to enforce it. Because, like, technically speaking, Final Mouse owns the patent for all honeycomb shells, but every single brand makes a honeycomb shell. So, like, that's kind of like, it's kind of the tricky thing of like, okay, well, Asus has a patent for this. Unless they let the patent expire, like, are they actually going to, like, are they going to enforce it? Like, there's a lot of nuance to this stuff, unfortunately. So a lot of brands are scared to do things. Like, don't get me wrong, like, actually implementing hot swap switches is not very difficult. It's very easy to do. It's more of a firmware trouble more than anything. But it's just one of those things where, like, it's like, are you willing to open yourself up to a lawsuit, potentially? That's, like, the big thing. It's like ponage. It's like ponage with this adjustable sensor nonsense. Like, that's also, like, another factor to it as well. They're just saying G-Wolves is potentially infringing on their patent. It's like, well, number one, they're not using the same design. And number two, like, are they really going to waste the money to enforce that? Because the issue is that Chinese patent law is so lax. Even if a company does own a patent for something, the chance of it getting enforced by, like, if a US company wants to enforce that patent in China, there's no way. So, like, that's the thing. Like, there's just, like, there's a lot of nuance to this stuff, unfortunately, and none of it is cut and dry. And unfortunately, because of the gray areas, it's like, just because the chance that someone may enforce it, they don't want to mess with it. Like, for example, Asus is a big company. They're everywhere. They would enforce the patent more than, like, a small brand will. But again, you have brands like Incauto who have implemented their own versions of, like, swappable switches. So, like, it's, I don't know, there's a lot of nuance to it. A nice wide chisel tip on the iron is very convenient for both keyboard and mouse switches. Yes, that is true as well. You're not wrong. So they don't, Final Mouse didn't patent the shape, they patented the structural design, which many brands have just kind of copied to a degree. It's you would not believe behind the scenes how much nonsense goes on with peripherals. It's actually insane. Like, even when it comes down to mouse pads, like, certain companies like Rogers has a exclusive patent on Poron. but like other companies were using it and they shouldn't have been. Like Gateron, like everyone was claiming, like all these other brands are cloning Gateron's like patented switch types. So, like there's all this stuff that happens. Like it's insane. Like even in the mousepad world, the amount of copyright infringement that happens in the mousepad world is fucking crazy. Like you would not believe. It's actually crazy, but that's just how it is. Hey Alex, how you doing today? Good day, Melon. Can't believe it's Viper V3 day. Yes, it is. It is. How do I measure my hands? Okay, so there's two ways of doing it. Oh, wrong camera. So that's also the wrong camera. This is the right camera. Okay, so there's two ways of doing it. Either you measure from here to the tip of your fingers here. That's your length. And then for width, there's two ways of doing it. You either measure from the side of your thumb here in, or you measure from this corner of your index finger to your pinky here. And then that's kind of your general guide there. But keep in mind, like, if you're trying to figure out what mics work for your hand size, be careful because, like, on paper, the Viper V3's, like here's the thing. Don't trust a mouse's shape dimensions in terms of hand compatibility because on paper, the Viper V3 looks like it would be great for like smaller hands, but in reality, it's really big. So you do have to be careful when you're buying mice like that. You want to make sure you find people who talk about the shape and how it fits for multiple grip styles. Like that's why I talk about that when I do reviews because I talk about how it will work for other grip styles because just because a mouse says it's going to be compatible with a grip style does not mean it's necessarily going to be compatible if you have really long or wide hands. There's going to be a lot of nuance to that. Structural design patent is really enforceable. That's the thing. It's they have a patent for it, but like, are they like technically speak like Final Mouse isn't enforcing it, but they could if they wanted to. So like that's the thing. But like more times than not, it's more trouble than it's worth to actually enforce it, which is why a lot of things just don't happen. But yeah, it's messy. There's a lot of nonsense when it comes to peripherals. I use the Basilisk. Basilisk? That's a mouse I haven't heard of in a long time. Ow. Oh my god, I just got cooked already. Damn. Yeah, see, my aim is just like a little off because I'm just so used to using a forward sensor position. Would the egg speed GX switches work with a non? That is the one exception. So endgame gears switches require special firmware, which means they'll work. So like, don't get me wrong, the switches will function. The trick is though, is that special tech reason where instead of the click happening when a plunger makes contact with the bottom, when the connection gets severed at the top of the switch, that won't work. So they'll work as like traditional switches. They just won't have that speed mode. So they won't have like the super low latency. But I will say, though, I wish they did because the KLGX switches Endgame Gear uses are absolutely goated. They're one of the best switches I've ever used. And, like, personally speaking, I'm an Omron guy. Like, I much prefer Omron switches, but those switches are so good. I wish I could use them on other stuff. Okay, correction. I wish I could fully utilize them on other stuff, but again, implementing the firmware is going to be tricky. How much better is the Viper V3 Pro than the AliExpress copy? So that's a whole bunch of that's a whole thing. So I've talked about this kind of before here on the channel, but you need to be really careful with the Chinese mice because you have to remember that Chinese mice are not only, number one, usually doing a bunch of patent infringement. The problem with them is that you don't know what you're getting. So even though on the AliExpress listing for the mouse, it says that the mouse is a Viper V3, or a Viper V3 clone shape, the specs of the mouse are going to be much worse. The software is almost always terrible, and there's no warranty support. Also, the actual build quality and materials you get from the cheap Chinese clone mice, like, you get what you pay for. That's, like, what I kind of say to everybody, like, when they ask about this kind of thing, is, like, you get what you pay for. If you want to buy a cheap clone of a mouse, you're going to get a cheap clone of the mouse and all the bad things that come with that. And, like, to be fair, though, I will agree, yeah, like, mice like RAZER's mice are extremely expensive. But, again, part of that cost is you have a big company who will give you warranty support, who will give you part support. Like, again, it's an expensive mouse, but it comes with all this stuff that those cheaper brands do not have. So that's something to keep in mind. I would not want a fire hazard so close to my hand. That is all, yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, like 300 milliamp hour batteries, the worst it's going to do is just fizzle out for a little bit. It's not going to burn for a super long time, but I do agree that is another factor you should be considering. But yeah, like whenever people ask me to cover clone mice, I tell them is like I don't cover them because of the intellectual property gray area that is those mice, as well as just like you sacrifice so much for them. But again, I understand how people, like, they don't have money for, a proper mouse, and I totally get that. But, like, in almost every situation, you're better off buying either a clone from a more reputable brand, or you're better off buying the real thing. I spent the premium cost of my headset, and it has 300-hour battery life. Damn, that's pretty good. Spyware mouse. Oh yeah, that's another thing as well. Yeah, I forgot about that. A lot of Chinese clone mice have like a lot of weird, sketchy shit in their firmware. I forgot about that. Thank you for mentioning that. That's another factor. And the moment law doesn't apply to them, you're not correct. The moment, yeah, that was gonna say that's also the thing as well, yeah, because they're like their ISP laws. Like, here's the thing as well, like you have to remember for mice, you have to have them be like certified with like, because they all use like radio tech, so they all have to be certified with like that kind of stuff. They have to make sure like they don't put out a certain amount of radiation. Like, there's all this like stuff that has to be done. And on Chinese clone mice, they'll say that stuff is done, but in reality, it's not. Now, obviously, are you going to get cancer from a Chinese mouse? You're not going to. But, like, there's a lot of other things that go into that as well. So, like, again, cheap Chinese mice on the surface look great, but there's a lot more than meets the eye with them. I've seen ATK make good mice. Oh, ATK is actually probably one of the worst brands out there, actually. They kind of cleared their name because they're sponsoring some big names, but man, ATK makes some dog shit products. And like also another factor you have to think about too, guys, like another huge factor is firmware, because like the difference between good and bad firmware can make a mouse like usable or absolute trash. Chinese firmware, like clone firmware mice, is absolutely dog shit. They have some of the worst latency specs you will find on the market. They are terrible. Like, absolutely horrible. And like, I know click latency, like on paper, doesn't matter that much because like most mice have good ratios, but some of those cheap Chinese mice have like insanely high click, like it's ridiculous. But yeah, but like there are like a lot of these cheap brands, you got to be careful with them because like, again, you get what you pay for, and a lot of the time you're paying for just like really bad components. You're paying for non-binned products. You're paying for like switches or components that weren't used by a bigger brand, so they get sent to them that have QC problems. You're paying for worse QC, worse software. Like everything is just worse. Yeah, the game's RoboQuest. Thank you for answering. I apologize. How about mech Jews? I haven't really used them too much. I can't really speak to them. I just know of the ones I've had experiences with. I haven't really used them, though, so I can't really speak to them. But, like, again, with all these mice, you get what you pay for. I think that's just, like, the rule of thumb for all, like, clone mice. I'm just waiting for the day I get sued by, like, ATK or something for saying this shit, but good stuff, most of the keyboards. Ah, that is true, yeah, they do have keyboards. But yeah, just again, with all this cheap stuff, you get what you pay for. That's like the biggest thing to remember. Double flash has to be one of the most annoying things I've seen in this game. That's actually so troll. How you doing, RG, by the way? Hope you're doing well, man. Dude, I thought I broke a PC a couple months ago. What'd you do? Hyperlight is surprisingly good for the price compared to other mice in the range. Yeah, like that's the thing. Like there's a like I wouldn't call Hitscan a clone brand by all. Like even though it's like technically a clone of a Razer mouse, like Hitscan is like I'm talking like the $30, $50 AliExpress ones. Like there are reputable smaller brands. Like Hitscan is one of them. Wise Owl. Like I guess like technically some of like maybe Mech Juice as well. Like Ankot's pretty good, but like there's like yeah again it varies pretty heavily. But always look at reviews. Yeah, true. Or like T-Evolution is also another good example because they technically cloned a 703, but like they're a pretty reputable brand from what I've seen so far and my experience with them. Viper V3 is really good. Yeah, I was gonna say I'm actually really impressed with the mouse. It feels really good in my hand. The Vaxi doll. What was that thing called? There was a weird name. I remember Vaxi's bungee was pretty good though. But yeah. Yeah, the hits. Honestly, the Hitscan Hyperlight was a good mouse. It just had a couple unfortunate design decisions that kind of made it a little meh. Copped a 75 ULX comp earlier. Hey, you got it for an actual good price. Nice. Hopefully it has no issues. I don't know why. I've been seeing so many people post about like creaking final mouses lately. I don't know why. I wouldn't call a Hyperlight a clone. Viper Mini. Yeah, I was gonna say like Viper inspired is a good way. Yes, Vaxi Orza. Yeah, that's what it is. This game is called RoboQuest. There's a free demo for it on Steam if you're interested in trying it out. It's a really fun game. Oh, I didn't even know you could go up here. Oh, this is fire. QC been good. What I heard is take it to the Geek Squad. I was bracketed inside, realized how stupid it was. You took your PC to Geek Squad? Bro, I used to work there. I wouldn't take anything there. If you're spending $30 to $50 on an AliExpress mice, you're doing it wrong. Honestly, the most worth ones are the cheap or else. The most worth it are the cheap to close to cheap models. Ah, makes sense. Yeah. I'm dead again. Fuck. Viper B2, some of the shell videos I've seen for the ULX comp are crazy. Oh, I know. It's insane. I've seen some horrifying things on those bikes. It's actually crazy. I still can't believe Final Mouse is allowed to get away with QC that bad. It actually just blows my mind how bad it is. I can't, like, their mice are so expensive. That thing should be fucking perfect. Like, it blows my mind every single time I see something on like Twitter about like creaking Final Mouses. I'm like, how the hell is that even allowed? Yeah, Viper V2 has a nicer aesthetic appeal compared to the V3 though. V3 looks super plain. Well, they were going for like a GPX look. Like you can tell they wanted to lean away from like the crazy like RAZER like design they previously went for. You can definitely tell there's a difference. But yeah. Anyways, okay, I think it's gonna be me done for the day. Sorry for the shorter stream, but I do have some stuff I have to do today. I have to finish up a video for X-Ray Pad, so I got some stuff to do today. But overall, Viper so far, honestly, really impressed. I really don't have any immediate problems with the mouse I can see right now. There's like a couple very tiny nitpicks, but overall the mouse is really good. Unboxing is good. Accessories could be improved. Again, stock cable pretty bad, should be replaced for a thinner one with a tilted USB-C end. The stock skates are actually surprisingly good, but I would like to see another set included. Should have skate removal ramps on it as well. The grip tape is really bad. That should be updated to a much better grip tape. Aside from that, though, pretty good. Software experience is okay. Pretty bloaty because, again, it's RAZER software, but I would like to see a way to just download the control, like the mouse control options only and nothing else, but again, that's a pretty minimal nitpick. But overall, the mouse feels really good. Coating held up really good over my testing, which is surprising because I have, like, really sweaty hands. I was expecting this to be a slippery mess, but it's actually feels really good in the hand, which is nice to see. Performance felt good, clicks felt good despite their kind of odd audio feedback and click feel. Overall, really no major complaints so far, honestly. I'm pretty impressed. We'll have to see how it holds out over like testing, of course, to see how it is long term, but so far initial impressions of the Viper V3 are very solid. I really don't have many complaints, so I mean, hey, props to RAZER there. I mean, it's a good product overall. It's way better than my unboxing experience with the GPX, I'll say that. So, yeah, fuck that mouse. Anyways, anyways, that's going to be everything for today, though. Chat, I appreciate chilling, hanging out. In terms of videos for next week, we only have one video. What was the word I'm looking for? Viper V3 doesn't use the wireless charging. I think it does. Wait, no, actually, does it? I don't think it does. There's no puck on the bottom. I don't think it does. I think it's only. I don't think it supports it. At least not right now. But anyways, so in terms of what was I going to say? In terms of videos coming out next week, we have the Orbital Pathfinder review going up on Wednesday, which is officially the longest video of the channel so far. It's a long one, but the Pathfinder is an incredible mouse, and I hope you guys enjoy the video, because again, that is a really cool concept by a really cool brand that's doing something really unique in this space. So I hope you guys enjoy that video. Again, channel members are going to get early access to that video, so if you guys want to see it early, it's going to go up later today. You can become a channel member to support what I do here on the channel, and then after that it'll be have the Orbital teardown, and then probably the review for this following that, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, and then thank you for showing me hand size measurements, what you've done. Oh, no problem at all, 720p. I'm glad I could help. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask me anytime. But yeah, thank you for your time. Have a good one, Smike. Have a good one. But anyways, that's all for me today. I'm going to go watch VCT and get some recording done, so I'm going to go take care of that. But anyways, I appreciate y'all chilling and hanging out. Nice to hear from you again, Fireball. Hope all is going well, bro. If I get Gunfire Reborn, we'll play sometime whenever I get my hands on that, but we'll see. But yeah, anyways, can't wait for the Orbital. Yeah, no, it's an awesome mouse. You guys will. The video's like 50 minutes long because I talked about everything so much, but it's a really, really awesome mouse. You guys will enjoy that video. But anyways, that's all for me today. I appreciate y'all chilling and hanging out. Thank you very much, and I will catch you guys later. Peace.